Right. Next, we have another presentations from Ahmad Nur Khairi. Ahmad Nur Khairi, are you here?
Yes, sir.
You can turn on your camera and try to share the screen. And then you start from the beginnings of the slideshow or the PowerPoint. Start from the title. Ahmad Nur Khairi from Universitas Lampung Mangkurat
All right.
with the title The Use of Banjaris Folklore in Teaching Reading Comprehension Online for Class 10 IPS
Sure.
1 at SM1 Namuntai.
Yes.
You can full show the slideshow and then the time is yours. You can begin your presentation.
All right. My name is Ahmad Nur Khairi, and today I will present my thesis entitled The Use of Banjaris Folklore in Teaching Reading Comprehension Online for Class 10 EPS 1 at SMN 1 Amuntai. All right. I will present the first one is introduction, second, review of literature, and third, method of research, fourth, research finding and discussion, fifth, conclusion and suggestion. Introduction, part one. Background of the study. The researchers conducted an interview with the English teacher of SMN 1 Amuntai about what texts were used in teaching reading comprehension. And the teacher answered that he used text in book, such as Snowman, Tangkuban Perahu. This is one of the reasons why I chose the Banjaris folklore, because it is rarely used in both Indonesian and English learning. SMN 1 Amuntai is one of the leading schools in the Amuntai area that implements online learning. During a pandemic like this, schools are closed and students are required to study at home online through WhatsApp groups, Zoom meetings, or Google Classroom, using a personal cell phone or laptop to prevent the transmission of COVID-19. This is, of course, make a difference in the way teachers teach the student receive learning. The other, I use Banjaris folklore to improve student reading comprehension, so that students know the folklore in their receptive regions. Scope of the study. The research subject is teacher of 10 IPS 1 at SMN 1 Amuntai. The research problem is, how is the process of using Banjaris folklore in teaching reading comprehension online for SMN 1 Amuntai student. The objective of this research is to find out the process of using Banjaris folklore in teaching reading comprehension online for class 10 social program 1 at SMN 1 Amuntai. The part 2, review of literature. Snow has said that the first is reading. Snow has said that reading is a process of simultaneously extracting and constructing meaning through interaction and involvement with written language, and consists of three elements: the reader, the text, and the activity or purpose of reading. Reading comprehension. Kennan, Benjamin, and Olson express that reading comprehension needs the successful expansion and arrangement of a lot of lower and higher level process and skills. Accordingly, there are many sources for possible comprehension break, and these sources are different based on the skill levels and age of readers. Folklore. From which, folklore is general terms for various types of various types of narrative prose literature in the oral tradition of the world. Online learning. William Horton explained that e-learning is learning web-based which can be accessed from internet. Jayakumar defines e-learning as whatever is learning is using electronic circuit, LAN or internet, for deliver learning content, interaction or guidance. The part 3, method of research. Approach and type of research. This research use descriptive qualitative research method. The reason for choosing the descriptive qualitative method is because the research wants to focus on how the process of teaching reading comprehension is taught online during the COVID-19 pandemic, whether the teacher present interesting learning as usual done at school, and according to school procedure, lesson plan, and whether students are enthusiastic about learning reading comprehension online. Research instrument. I use three research instruments. The first one is documentation. Documentation in this study is the implementation plan of learning made by the teacher, teaching material, media, and learning model used by teacher to teach reading comprehension. And the second, observation. The researcher used the method, participant observation method in the study where the researcher joined a WhatsApp group to see how the online reading comprehension learning process using Banjaris folklore. And the third, last, interview. I interviews to English teachers to obtain information such as teacher's background, student difficulties, learning process, and teaching material use, and student grades before using student grades before using Banjar story text in learning English, and other information about teaching reading at SMN 1 Amutai. This is the teacher strategy sheets. There are several aspects observed in the teaching and learning process. The use of Banjaris folklore to teach reading comprehension for students in class 10. Student experience option interest in learning reading comprehension online using Banjaris folklore. Truthworthiness of research instrument. Silverman and Pitts have been able to demonstrate validity and reliability in their writings. One of the authors of the research method, Guba, proposed four criteria that must be considered by qualitative researchers in order for research to be reliable, namely credibility, transferability, dependability, and confirmability. Data collection. This study used three data collection methods. They are documentation, observation, and interview. Research finding and discussion. The teacher of SMN Walamuntai used Banjaris folklore entitled Bloody Tombstone. Bloody Tombstone. In teaching reading comprehension through a WhatsApp group, because some student and teacher didn't understand the procedure of using Google Meet and Zoom meeting. Also, they had complaints such as the lack of internet quota that owned by student, and unstable network when using Zoom meeting or Google Meet in their area. That makes the learning process hamper, so that learning process only using by WhatsApp group. So there are following about the result of interview with the teacher and student. Table 1. Teacher strategy sheet. The first one, activating prior knowledge. Yes, the note is the teacher gave 3 questions about the topic of the reading. The question is, do you like Banjaris folklore? What do you think of Banjaris folklore? And shouldn't take turn sending message via WhatsApp group to answer the question. So yes, there is activating real knowledge in the learning process. All right. The second is cultivating vocabulary. Uh, the teachers discuss the meaning of some difficult words. Based on my observation through my attendance on the English group study on WhatsApp, there was no student who asked directly meaning of some difficult words from the text, and the teacher helped to translate some words and helped to mention the change of the part tongue of past tense. I'm sorry. Mention of the change of the past tense to passive form. So there is yes, cultivating vocabulary in the learning process. So the third, teaching reading comprehension. The teacher gave 10 questions about the text of the narrative. The teacher taught reading comprehension by giving the question.
Sorry to interrupt. You
Yes.
have 30 seconds left.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I will next this for finding and discussion. So I will go to the last part, conclusion and suggestion. So the conclusion is, based on the writer's observation on the online English of WhatsApp group, online learning is indeed less effective because most of it causes problem from the side of student, educators, and educational institution. Many factors cause online learning to be less effective. Based on the result of research that have been done regarding online learning, not all of them have a negative impact on the teaching and learning process, but one of the main goals of implementing distance learning today is to support and even break the chains of disease transmission. COVID-19. Online learning can be carried out effectively and efficiently. Of course, it requires full support from the government and educational institution. For the suggestion, the teachers at senior high school need to prepare and make lesson plan before teaching, and the class can be creative to find out various ways for the activities of learning and teaching online. The teachers should go on studying and joining the training to help them for the teaching online and cooperating with other teachers for better online teaching. The teacher need to only activate knowledge, cultivate vocabulary, teach reading comprehension, increase reading strategies, but also to verify reading strategy and evaluate strategy reading journal in teaching reading comprehension online for the student at senior high school. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the presentation,
Yes.
Ahmad Nur Khairi. That's very informative presentations.